Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the Surge Effect, and this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. In today's episode, we are going to be talking a little bit about what Trump has signed as executive order since he's been in office. And, of course, Elon Musk, what he did the other day at Capital One and all the controversy over that. And we are also going to be talking a little bit about the people that are trying to run for the Liberal Party here in Canada, and just a little bit about that, and a little bit about the carbon tax and stuff like that. So that's about the three things we're going to hit on in today's podcast. So buckle up, because that's what we're going to be talking about. So before we get started, I always like to mention a few of our sponsors. Our number one sponsor is Love My Legs, Owen Sound, Grey Bruce. Click on the link below. Head on over to their Facebook page and check out all of the different ladies' leggings that they have to offer. Number two is Heshirtssheshirts Plus. Head on over to their website. Click the link below. They have a website and a Facebook page, both on the links below. They are more than just another t-shirt company, and they do laser engraving as well. Check them out. I always like to mention two other things. I like to mention my podcast mic, always throw that in there, and my RODECaster Pro 2. Very good for doing podcasting, vlogging, all that fun stuff, because they work hand in hand, and they're great pieces of kit. Click the link below, head on over to Amazon and get yours today. All right, let's get started with today's podcast. All right, so like I said, we're going to be talking about stuff that Trump has signed. So, for instance, Trump has signed a bunch of different things the other day, and he was only in office like the first day. He signed a whole whack of stuff. So what did he sign? Well, I'm going to read some of the stuff that he did sign if you do not know. So as of January 22nd, 2025, Donald Trump signed a significant number of executive orders, memoranda, and proclamations based on the available information. Here's what I have. The number of executive orders, while exact numbers from sources are not universally constant. They post, some of them are posted on X. They indicate that Trump signed around 42 executive actions on his first day in office. However, specific numbers might vary slightly due to the different categorizations of executive orders from memoranda and proclamations. Notable or best executive orders. Here is a summary of some of the executive orders highlighted as that might be significant or impactful. Revocation of Biden's era policies. Trump revoked or revised numerous policies from the previous administration. This includes a broad spectrum of actions, but specifically targets policies on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or you might know it as DEI, environmental regulations and immigration and border security, declared a national emergency on the southern border, which includes deploying additional troops, actions aimed at ending birthright citizenship for children for unauthorized immigrants or those on temporary visas, designating Mexico drug cartels and gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. Economic and administrative reforms were ordered a freeze on new federal regulations, aiming to give his administration time to review them all. Implemented a hiring freeze on the federal government except for the military and certain public safety roles. Mandated the federal employees return to a in-person work, ending remote work policies. Environmental policies withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement, emphasizing domestic energy production and reducing the environmental regulations. Social and cultural policies were executive orders aimed at recognizing only two biological sexes, reversing policies related to transgender rights, ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, like I mentioned earlier, programs on federal hiring practices, legal and justice systems, pardons for individuals involved in the January 6th, 2021 Capitol riot, including high-profile cases like that of Enrique Tarrio. These actions reflect Trump's campaign promises and immediate priorities upon taking office, focusing on immigration, reversing previous administrative policies, and addressing what he perceives as bureaucratic inefficiencies. However, the term best can be subjective depending on one's political stance or policy priorities. These actions have been met with both support and criticism, reflecting the polarization state of the American politics. Basically, he made promises and he kept them during his run for president. So, of course, the pardons on the 1,500 people that he pardoned, Biden actually pardoned numerous people. So here's his whole family, the executive grant clemency. I'll just let you read that a little bit. But I'll also read you this one here. Biden's pardoning of the January 6th committee. Biden is as corrupt as they come, I believe. Wow. It's in the final hours as president, Joe Biden issued a preemptive pardon to Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, and members of the House committee that investigated the January 6th Capitol attack, including Liz Cheney and Adam Schiff. They were on that committee. Biden emphasized that these pardons are not acknowledgments of wrongdoing, but were intended to protect these individuals from potential politically motivated prosecutions under the incoming administration. Well, isn't that convenient? And he also did his whole family: James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, and Francis W. Biden. So Biden did those pardons as well, which tells me there's Adam Schiff right here. I'm just going to show you this clip here in a minute. So with Biden doing that to his family, they haven't committed any crime. Even Adam Schiff here. This was from 2020, and he's talking on a show here. I'm sure you know who that girl is there, Joy Reid. Anyway, listen to what he has to say about pardons. This is when he thought that is back in 2020 when people were thinking that Trump was going to pardon his family members. Here's what Adam Schiff had to say about that.
Heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime, who's just an innocent person. Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, here it's an effort not only to prospectively pardon people for things they have not yet been charged with and may never be charged with, but also it's the president's own family.
The president's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr. President, that would be a gross abuse of the presidential pardon authority.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what Biden did. It's exactly what Biden did. He grossly abused his authority and did that to Schiff. And there's Schiff saying about, oh, Trump shouldn't do that. Well, that's what Biden just did for Adam Schiff. So think of that. All right, so now we're going to move on, of course, to what everyone's freaking out about. Elon Musk, the other day when he was at the Capital One rally, and basically he was saying, my heart goes out to all of you. And he made the gesture, of course, the Hitler salute kind of thing, and everyone freaked out. But we're going to watch the video in its entirety. Then I'm going to show you a couple of still shots after that. So here we go.
You know, there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, you know, important, some are not. But this one this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you.
So that in a nutshell, that everyone was freaking out about. So he was basically saying, my heart goes out to you. Of course, the picture, the still picture that went viral is this one right here of him doing that. Of course, that's the clip they took out of the video. So, of course, AOC
This
She had what she had to say on Twitter the other day. This is what she had to say.
is the United States of America. And I don't care what Elon Musk is doing behind a presidential seal. In this country, we hate Nazis. Kind of like a foundational defining thing. Two of probably the most foundational defining things about American history is that we beat the Confederates and we beat the Nazis. And I don't know what side people may be on today, but I still am not rocking with anyone sympathetic to Nazis. And I will do that until I am 6 feet in the ground.
So she doesn't, she's not too keen on the whole Nazi symbolism stuff, right? Yeah, so here we go. I'm just going to show you this here picture. Oh my goodness. Is she doing the Nazi salute as well? Is that what she's doing? Wow. So there you go. People in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. People are always going to try to figure out a narrative to try to blame somebody or show somebody a different angle, maybe. There's another one. Who is this? Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. Oh, there's Pocahontas and Kamala. They're all doing the salute. Where'd this come from? See, so it's so easy to pick stuff out from people. And the internet is infinite. It's just, it goes on since it started. And people can find all kinds of things on the internet. Oh, here's another one. Oh, there's Tim Walz. He was the running mate for Kamala. He come out to the big crowd. And is he just waving or is that the Nazi salute? I'm not sure what's going on there. You be the judge of that one. Anyway, interesting stuff, right? Very interesting stuff. All right, so that's the whole Elon Musk Nazi thing. So we're going to move on here now to people that want to take over the liberal position from Trudeau. And here is Chrystia Freeland, who's a train wreck as far as I'm concerned, but you can do the math on this one. So here's a little quick video of her.
That the most effective mechanism to accomplish that green transition is a price on carbon. BC has an exceptional system pricing pollution. And the right thing to do is what our government is doing, which is to put a price on pollution. I absolutely believe that a price on pollution is the right thing for Canada. Yes, our price on pollution is foundational. Our price on pollution, that's a very powerful market-based mechanism. It's going up every single year.
Yeah, she's just like Justin. That's exactly what she's all about. She wants to keep raising the price of carbon. So the next one I'm going to show you here, again, this is Chrystia Freeland talking in an interview in November 2022. Here we go.
Personally live in central Toronto. Our family doesn't have a car. We use the subway. We ride our bikes. Right. We walk. And that is how a lot of Toronto families live. The price on pollution actually is helpful to people in Toronto, across the country. The price on pollution really is not adding to the challenges that households are facing right now.
What would she know about households and what challenges they face? She makes $300,000 a year. She could care less about other households that are making significantly less than she is. So that doesn't quite wash with me. So here's another little clip. And here's Trudeau talking about, Chrystia Freeland, him being buddies and blah, blah, blah. They're the same. They're the same. Chrystia is the same. And so is Mark Carney. All these people that are going to be running, they're the same liberal nonsense that are going to drive this country into the ground. Here we go.
Chrystia has been by my side for close to 10 years now.
10 years.
She has been an incredible political partner through just about everything we have done as a government and as a party over the past decade.
The Prime Minister has my full support. The Prime Minister has my full support. All of us here have tremendous confidence in the Prime Minister.
We have confidence in him as the leader of our government, as the Prime Minister of Canada, and we have confidence in him as our party's leader, as the guy who is going to lead us into the next election.
In regards to Chrystia, she has been a close friend and ally and partner in doing really big things for Canada and will continue to be. I have full confidence in her abilities and on the work we're going to be doing together.
Just like Justin. They're the same people, one and the same. So here is Christina Gould. She's the whisper in the House of Commons. Every time she's asked a question, she talks like this. You can't even hear what she's saying. And if you go on the House of Commons and watch it like I do, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. Listen what she says here. This is hilarious.
And I'll be very honest with you, Rosie, Canadians don't trust the Liberal Party of Canada right now. And I think that's because over the past couple of years in particular, we've gotten further away from the grassroots and talking about the things that Canadians care about.
How about selling Canadians under the, down the river? How about that? That's what they've been doing. That's what these people do. And here's Christina Gould talking again. Different video.
Look, we are very committed to the price on pollution, as we talked about yesterday on your show. It is something that is an important plank of our policy when it comes to fighting climate change.
See, just like Justin, another one. These people want to hammer us so much with this pollution and take as much money as they possibly can from you. That's just what they want to do. And I've had different podcasts in the past talking about climate and the carbon and all that stuff. You know my stance on it. Just like Trudeau, or just like Trump said the other day at Davos, he calls it the Green New Scam. This is the biggest scam pulled over the wool, over the people's eyes of this world. And people need to wake up and see what's going on. And this guy here, who actually climbed the CN Tower, Steve Gabolt, he was a criminal, walked away in orange jumpsuit, put in jail for a bit. He is our climate czar here in Canada. That's what he has to say.
Is there anything that's as effective or more effective than a consumer price on carbon?
Well, yes, obviously the industrial price on pollution is more effective because it gives us 3 times more emission reduction. So, one obvious answer to if we don't move ahead with consumer carbon pricing would be to tighten a system that we already have for large polluters in the country. That's certainly an avenue. There are other things we're working on. We're deploying a cap on pollution from the oil and gas sector will be a key component of our tool to ensure that every sector of the Canadian economy, whether it's the aluminum sector, steel sector, auto sector, or oil and gas sector, does its fair share when it comes the time to reducing pollution.
How did the Liberals lose so badly on policy that's been around for 5 years? What went wrong?
Pierre Poilievre went wrong. He lied and manipulated Canadians on this issue because for a number of years, large amount of Canadians were in favor of the consumer pricing, and through a campaign that has largely lied and misled Canadians, he's made it a very unpopular policy.
He's flip-flopping now because Mark Carney, right? He's flip-flopping. So let's see what Pierre Poilievre has to say about this one.
So what's the Liberal game plan to try and save their government in the next election? Here's what it is. They're going to pretend that they've changed completely, that they've elected a new leader who's back to normal. They're going to put in someone like Mark Carney, and they'll pretend he's different because he looks different, right? He knows, unlike Justin, he knows how to comb his hair, and he wears normal navy blue socks and a nice suit, and he pretends to have had a corporate job. So they say this guy's a complete change. He's back to normal. He knows how to work a calculator. Make no mistake, this guy is just as, if not more, radical than Justin Trudeau. And today, we got the proof. You'll never guess who's announced he's supporting Carney. The most crazy, self-described socialist in the government, Stephen Guilbeault, the crazy carbon tax minister. This is a guy who has been arrested twice, once for climbing on the roof of the Premier of Alberta to protest against the energy sector, the second time for climbing the CN Tower, He wants to ban road building, nuclear power, wants to shut down the forestry sector because he says that's the only way to save the caribou. He's against hydroelectric dams. And most important of all, he said he would resign from the Trudeau cabinet if there was even one more exemption from the carbon tax. He wants the carbon tax to apply on all fossil fuel energy, and has said he would end his career if it did not go ahead. Now, this is important because it means that if Carney were not privately committing to him behind the scenes that he will keep the carbon tax, then Guilbeault would not be supporting him. Obviously, they have a carbon tax compact to keep and increase the tax because Guilbeault wants the tax to be 5, 6, 7, or 8 times higher. He wants to ban all fossil fuel jobs now. He is the most radical and fanatical of the Trudeau ministers, a guy who calls himself a socialist, and he's with Mark Carney. That's not because Carney is a normal, old-fashioned liberal. Far from it. Carney is just like Justin, just as radical. Don't be fooled. We don't need a guy who's the same as Trudeau but can comb his hair. We need a total change. Fire these guys. Bring home common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, and put Canada first. Let's bring it home.
Put Canada first. Imagine that. What a concept, putting your home base, your family first. Imagine that. What a difference that would make to this beautiful country, Canada. Beautiful. Anyway, here's another little clip here of Pierre Poilievre talking about carbon tax Carney and Chrystia Freeland. Here we go.
Carbon tax Carney and carbon tax Chrystia are just like Justin. Chrystia Freeland has been in charge of the budget for the last 4 years. How's the economy been doing?
Not worth a shit.
I don't think I need to say anything more about that. But the other guy, carbon tax Carney, here's a guy, he was a government bureaucrat, then a government banker, and now he spent the last few years as a glorified lobbyist for corporate welfare bums, going around trying to get grants and subsidies and handouts from the taxpayer for the wealthiest corporations in the world. And by the way, he has the most radical policy agenda. He believes the carbon tax is too low. He has said it on the record. He thinks the carbon tax is too low and needs to go even higher than Trudeau has already placed it. He will be the voice for the billionaire, globalist elite that have been impoverishing the working class around the world for the last several decades. He is the golden boy of the World Economic Forum, and he will be a disaster if he ever gets anywhere close to power. And we know that because he has been Justin Trudeau's personal economic advisor. He is the chair of Trudeau's Economic Growth Council, even to this day. Google it. It's on the Liberal Party website. So if you think that Justin Trudeau has done a bad job on the economy, you know who's been pulling his strings? Carbon tax Carney. They're both just like Justin. And that's why we need a carbon tax election to fire them all and bring home a common sense conservative government.
Exactly. They need to be all let go. They need to be fired. And we need to get a good management team in place. Carbon tax Carney. Here we go. So Pierre Poilievre was just talking about Carney, what he was like. Well, here is a former Prime Minister of England doing a quick little interview here. And this is what she had to say about Mark Carney.
I'm just wanting to get your thoughts on Mark Carney and your relationship with him while you were Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and any advice you have to Canadians who think he might make a good Prime Minister.
Well, Mark Carney was Governor of the Bank of England, and under his tenure, too much money was printed, which did damage to the British economy and put our economy off track. He, at the last election, endorsed Rachel Reeves' economic policy. She's now become Chancellor. It's been a disaster for Britain. The country is heading for bankruptcy. So I would strongly recommend not backing Mark Carney or his policies on net zero, which have been disastrous for Britain and would be disastrous for Canada.
Do you trust his judgment overall, outside of ideological considerations?
Well, I believe that he made major mistakes in the management of the Bank of England. He has pushed net zero, which has been a disaster, not just for the UK, but for many countries across the world.
Thanks for your time, Prime Minister. I appreciate it.
Just like that. That's what she had to say about Mark Carney, because he actually was in charge of money in the Bank of England at one time. So you guys want this guy in charge of your whole country? I don't think so. It all boils down to a couple things with me, but one of the main things, of course, is the management of our country, of Canada. How are they managing this country? Well, I say, pretty shitty job. I'm going to post something up here right now because everyone's all up in arms about Trump and the tariffs and all this other stuff. Well, here's how much money that Trudeau and his people that he's with have thrown away over the years. Look at the tens of billions of dollars. I'm going to read some of these out here. Grassy Point Liquid Natural Gas Project, $10 billion. Now we don't need that. West Coast Canada LNG Project, $25 billion. Now we don't need that. Aurora LNG Project, $28 billion. Now we don't need that. Prince Rupert, $11 billion. Nah. Pacific Northwest LNG, nah, $11 billion. Another LNG project and $18 billion. Nah. How about Alberta stuff? Frontier Oil Sands mine projects, $20 billion. Nah. 2.6, nah. 2.4, nah. 0.8, nah. 3 billion, nah. Let's head out to Quebec. Another 0.7 billion. Now we don't need that either. How about out in farther in Quebec? $0.4 billion project. No, we don't need that. And let's go out another one in Alberta, Mackenzie Valley Pipeline, $16 billion. Nah, don't forget about that. How about the Energy West to East Pipeline, $15.7 billion. Nah, we don't need that either. Another 7.9. Add up all these billions and billions of dollars that we didn't go with this Liberal Party since 2015 to 2020. The money that we could have made in this country alone, and they threw it away. It's pathetic. I'm going to leave that up there and let you have a quick look at it on the board. And I'm just going to read this other thing out to you here about the best interests of Canada, including all forms of assistance. Canada has provided over $9 billion, with a B, dollars to the Ukraine over the last 2 years, particularly in response to Russia's invasion in 2022. If the management of our country looked after Canada, the United States border would not be in the mess that it's in. This management has got to go, period. They do not, I repeat, do not have the best interest of Canada at heart. If they did, look at these billions of dollars that I just posted, that I just read, that you can look for yourself, that they threw away. They literally just threw it away. That, to me, is poor management. If these people worked for you, they would be fired within a week because they're not bringing money in. They're throwing money out. I suggest you write your MP, talk to the people that are in your riding, in your area, and don't forget, these Liberals have sold Canadians down the river. Doesn't matter, you put lipstick on a pig, still a pig. It's the way it works. They've tried to shove bills down our throats, like this hate crime, this hate speech bill and all this other stuff, that they can charge you for a thought of being hateful in the future that you haven't even done yet. Stuff like that. That's crazy. If anyone doesn't believe that's crazy, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, listen, that's it for today's podcast. Those are the things I want to talk about. Got them off my chest. Until next podcast, everyone. I always like to sign off my podcast with this, is that I appreciate that everyone subscribes to my podcast. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, share them. It helps with the algorithm with YouTube. It's much appreciated for subscribing. All the people that have watched it so far, I appreciate it. I always like to end with this part of my podcast as well, is that everybody in this world goes through something. Everyone's going through something because this world is tough. Life is tough. What you got to do is do yourself a big favor. That favor is this. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep moving forward, right? Tomorrow's a mystery. Yesterday is history. And today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Got to keep moving forward. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody. And until next time, cheers.